Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Bloop and a Blast Baseball Podcast. I'm the Bloop, aka Big Sexy. He's the Blast, Hughesy. And Hughesy, mate, we've got a pretty special guest here today with us right now.
We do. We've got Nathan Davison of the Adelaide Giants here join us tonight, mate. Welcome.
Very generous intro, Big Sexy. Thank you.
I just love the bloop, though, and the amount of people that actually are saying stuff to you about that and calling you bloop back at home is fantastic.
It is funny. I knew it had happened. As soon as I said, don't call me bloop, everyone's calling me bloop. But hey, we've got a thing. You know, people are having fun with it, and that's cool. I'll take it. I'm just a humble club ball guy, Davo. Not all of us can be studs.
I'll count if they drop in, right?
That's it. Look, mate, we really appreciate you jumping on. I'm sure leading up into this ABL season that's upcoming for the Adelaide Giants must be pretty busy time. Things are happening quick, and of course, you guys are going to have to defend the beach again. How's it all shaping up, mate? How's it all looking?
Yeah, it's it gets to October 1 and the AFL finish, and then the NRL obviously finished yesterday, and it does ramp up. Guys are starting to land, and how you get even the back end of how they land and how they get here and all that kind of stuff. It's never a simple equation. So you do all of the hard work in figuring out who should be on there and what it should look like, and then you actually have to execute. So as much as it's the hard work, it's also the fun work. You know, you meet new people, they're coming to town, they want to be here. You don't have to. We don't ever accept anyone that doesn't want to be here. So that's a pretty easy way to make sure there's buy-in, and it's a good fun time of year to be accepting some new people. And you're right, you can only win 3 championships in a row if you've won 2. So we've done that hard work to get to here, and it's a good fun time, man. What a great opportunity for us to try and defend the beach, like you said, man.
Mate, you've been a part of this organisation from the start. You know, you start off as assistant general manager, moved into being the GM with the organisation. I guess my question to you off the bat, like, what did it feel like to win your first championship 2 years ago? And I guess, you know, how did that play out?
Yeah, it was pretty emotional, to be honest with you, and such a different feeling. I tried to play for a lot of years, and we never had success, and then I saw all the success that all of my peers and friends around me and we become really good friends with the guys we played against for a long time. And then to see, and even to hear you talk about Brooke and his intro back into the ABL and the fact that he couldn't beat Perth type of thing. I was standing
just
there.
Just a sneaky dad jab, mate. Just a sneaky one in there.
You're allowed to do that because you beat us. But it was through all of that emotion of not winning all of those opportunities that we had, even back to the first year when we came over there, and really tight series and really good teams and competitive, but you guys were just able to get over it. So that actually took me back to that. And to answer your question, it was very emotional. It was exciting. I was excited for everyone around it, everyone that just, you know what it's like in the sport we're in, man. We have to keep punching above our weight forever, and then still remind people after we punch them that we're still in the fight, you know. So to get over the line, and to be honest with you, even in both of the semi-finals or the lead-in games, prelim final, we could quite easily have run second and not beaten those teams, you know. And then even in the finals, they were really tough. So as you know, they're really hard to win, and a lot of shit has to go right. And there it is. A lot of stuff has to go right. You have to be lucky. You have to be good. You have to stay fit and healthy. You have to have some love, you know, and some hate, all those kind of things. And that first year was super emotional. And I've watched the replay of it once, and I was still emotional. I was still watching it, and it's just fun to win, you know, to mold a group of people together. And we'll have that forever, just like everyone else that's won has done that. And that's, I'm sure, a resounding feeling that everyone that's ever won one has. But we hadn't had that opportunity. We'd only imagined what it looked like. The reverence that came with that big box that has the Claxon Shield in it was crazy. I mean, it comes just in a box. No instructions, no nothing.
Here you go. You can have it now. Have it for a year or maybe 2 years, maybe 3. Who knows?
We've made a stand for it sitting in my entry hall at my house still because no one else is going to mind it. So it's
Take it home, Davo.
Really lost the box, to be honest with you, because we had to remove a couple of containers. It was in one of them. We said, keep everything in the container. Then I was scratching my head going, oh, man, the box is in there. So it was about to get they had to race out to like 50 minutes away to go and get it before it got thrown in the tip. And
That would have been great.
I know, imagine telling that story. All the history, it's got stickers and shit all over it. It's unbelievable. Anyway, all of that came with the winning part of it and trying to figure out how we do it. And we polished it up and it looks a little bit nicer now.
But mate, like, to come back both years down game one, going back to Adelaide, being down game one, right? So like that must have been. I know I talked to the boys about flying back. Everyone's flying out of Perth, going back to Adelaide to essentially play each other. And I know extra inning game last year as well. That would have been one mentally draining and tough just doing that, and physically on the second part of it to go out there and then win game two, win game three, and get to celebrate for a couple of days. It must have been, huge, not only for Australian baseball, but for Adelaide and the Adelaide fans, and being able to be out there at the park. I did see that the Shark Tank's back in action this year, which has been some of the most memorable times playing in the Australian Baseball League, mate. But I guess for you, mate, like, you've been a player with the team in the past. You played a lot of games with the Adelaide Giants in the inaugural Australian Baseball League. I don't like to say they're two different competitions. I still feel, it was, the Australian Baseball League. Everyone goes old, new, whatever, all that. It's just Australian Baseball League to me. I guess from here with the organisation, like, you guys have been able to, and yourself especially, put together such a great group of people by looks from an outsider, through all the social media stuff that you do, all the membership stuff that you do, not only the roster, that's something separate, which we'll get to, but I mean, how have you gone about constructing, I guess, the off-field side of things? Because you guys do lead the social media. Like, I love it. Like, you guys keep everyone informed with what's going on, past players, current players, what's coming up, the signings. You're ahead of everybody else. Like, what have you put in place to be able to do that?
Yeah, I guess it probably goes back to 14-15 when you guys beat us just. A couple of years after that, we bottomed out. We were pretty bad. I think we went 11-29 and really didn't like the direction it was going. We had, the MLB, I think, were just about to pull out of the ownership. So that was all changing as well. And it was a concerted effort. Tank's a big part of it, who came in there, and he's a great leader of people. And he doesn't do that. It's not like it's too much of a contrived effort, but he does make a lot of effort to make sure that people know where they stand. And that was important. So we identified that we weren't going good. And what do you have to do to change that? Well, as cliched as it may sound, in order for something to change, something has to change. So we said, what is that? Let's identify it really clearly. And we went about, I guess you could call it a rebuild. I guess they use in the AFL terms. We probably don't have that advantage of being able to do that often because it's a 40-game schedule, 10 weeks, all of the stuff that you know. But we identified, let's get some youth in there, give them a chance to play. And we had a good model there, right? Because Brisbane had done exactly that. They were terrible for a couple of years, a couple to 3 years, with all those kids that turned into the best players in Australia, or some of them, and turned into 4 championships in a row. So that's a pretty good model to have a look at and see what you could do. So we identified them, and we don't have a lot of depth locally, albeit those that are here, we give them a chance to play. We give them a chance to get around it, and we'll probably punch above our weight. You throw Curtis and Jack in there this year, of course. I know you guys talked about them last week, and it's just been guys that continue to contribute from South Australia. But guys like Tank, you'd call him South Australian now, and he came from New South Wales 11 years ago. So he now lives here, and he's got a partner and a son and a house and all those kind of different things. So we said, how do we get best buy-in from people? Well, it has to start from the top firstly. We have to have good people. Now, I know that's cliched again, but when you're faced with the challenge of talent versus culture, it's a really hard one to actually execute. So it's one thing to say it and say, I don't want, this guy's a good player, but we'll hang on to him because he's a good player, but he's a dickhead, right? So how do we got rid of the guy in our team that was a dickhead, and we turned into a better team. On field, we were probably a better bunch of players, but the shackles were taken off. So anyway, we identified that let's go for these kids, and Edwards is involved, and Wingrove, and all of the guys that you now see that are that turned into really good players are on Team Australia, right? And selective recruiting. There's a couple of older guys that we padded with and try to get around it with Australians, and you guys know these names like Van Steensel and Wilkins, just salt of the earth guys that really want to play, really want to. They care about getting better at baseball. You don't have to do much when you got those sort of people around it, and Tank to mold it and steer it really helped, and so they all came together, and then the Phillies thing, I think, really helps out. Just the fact that it's got some longevity in it now, and there's some trust, which is what we always tried to explain to those folks over there, that Adelaide, South Australia, if you build your trust in us, we're going to help you. And the same that all the teams will try to do, but we've done that, I think, successfully. And now we've got complete buy-in from them to say, oh, maybe that guy isn't quite right for the fit. How are you going to get 3 in a row? We can help you with this. They're trying to do that. So that was the model of the build. And then those guys now, again, they're there and turn it into guys that there's no doubt they want to come back. They want to stay in Adelaide. They want to stay and play. And they're relaying good stories about it.
Mate, my big thing, and obviously J Max, the heart and soul of that club and that clubhouse, and has been there for a long, long time now. And I look at what you've been able to do recruiting, and as you mentioned, good people, good fellas, great baseball players from different parts, and you've been able to build that culture that you talked about. Which for me, if you look at all these teams within the Australian Baseball League, Perth Heat, everyone always asks me, what was it that you guys did? Like, why were you so successful? And the first thing I say is it's culture. Like we teach the imports that come in, the culture of what we are and the people we are. And we literally just got them off a plane straight down to Colasolo Beach, took them to the pub, and we just sat there and drank. And that's what, showed them the type of people we are. Brisbane, as you said, went through the exact same thing. Melbourne won a couple there, and obviously now you guys sit at the top. But a few names that I'm really interested to talk about and how you went about it was, you got Mitchy Newborn over there, which I said last week, I love him. Like he's an unbelievable guy. Don't worry about the baseball side of things. So I'm sure that that's something that you looked at. Todd Van Stensel, you mentioned, Luke Wilkins, like these guys have come over and added value to your organisation. Rickson Wingrove, another character within our game, which I think is good to see. Like we want to see these guys express who they are, and I think you've been able to do that in Adelaide and let the guys go out there and play and create that clubhouse culture.
No, I couldn't agree more. And it was remiss of me to not mention J-Mac as well, but we gave him a lifetime contract for a reason, that he's just an Adelaide guy and he's going to be there forever. And he does keep getting better, actually. I mean, he's got a good quick bat and he keeps getting the hits when he needs to. And
clutch hits, mate, always.
And for him to win the MVP and hit, I think he might hit 3 home runs that series.
Yep.
Against Perth. I say you guys. I'm considering you a Perth guy, Hughesy.
Yeah.
That little sojourn in Melbourne wasn't.
We'll leave that
one. But yeah, no. And some of those other guys. Who was the first one you mentioned?
Mitchy Newborn.
Yeah, that's a good story too, because he got a little bit of a taste of it, and I think last week he even relayed that he had a couple of problems with his elbow. I think one of them wasn't diagnosed correctly, and then the surgery didn't go so great, and what have you. And you only have to look at him and understand how athletic he is and how much of a talent that he is. And he found a way to get out of his own way and start getting better at pitching and better at baseball. And he's such a good dude that you just can't help but want to get around. I spoke to him this week, and he's finished up his season. He seems a little more settled, had a really hard 12 months, and he's keen to get back and pitch. He's going to be on the Premier 12 roster, and he's probably as good as anyone we've got going around at the minute. Probably from the right side of the plate anyway. Yeah, take Hendricks out of it. That's in the big leagues already. He's good, right? And he's a guy, and he wants to be in Adelaide, man. And that's all you have to say to me. If you want to be here, and to be honest with you, I'm not going to ask you twice. So if he doesn't want to be, then I'll give him my full endorsement to go wherever he chooses to go. But the fact that he wants to be here is fantastic for us. Van Steensel and Wilkins were totally different in recruiting them. I think they were just looking for a change, and they felt like it was so refreshing to see their faces almost after the first training session when they got here. They just loved everything about it from the first second they got here. They loved the atmosphere. They loved the structure. And they even said so. They said this, and I've had as much fun in the first week I've been here as I have for the last X amount of years now. It's probably an exaggeration, and they've thrived on that. And even Wilco's a complex dude, and he
To say the least.
and and all the best. He's great. Him and his
Yeah.
we became family, right? Him and they got married to Kate, and now they're living in Amsterdam, and all that kind of stuff. I love seeing those sort of pathways and the way they progress through their lives. And he's an Adelaide Giant. We're lucky enough to get rings from our ownership, and everyone got one, and they're fantastic. And to present that to people was such a joy because they also had been starved of success as well, and they came over and helped us out and get there, and it was exciting to be able to do that.
Davo, it's one thing to say we're going to create this and we're going to build a culture, right? And I'm sure there's other clubs around the country right now saying that, and they want to achieve it, right? And everyone wants to, but there has to be something tangible that you turn around and you say, no, we are. You said that approach. You said these guys when they come here, they enjoy the approach and that. Like, is there something to it that you can put your finger on, or is it just a collective bunch of guys trying to work towards a common goal with less restraints or a new age approach? Is there, do you know where I'm going with this? Is there?
I mean, it's all of that. I mean, to be honest with you, it'd be really difficult to pinpoint one of them. To have your actions speak louder than your words, or deliver upon your words, is probably as important as any of them. And we're so well led. Tank is amazing. The coaching staff that he brings together, there's behind the scenes guys like Scott Gladstone and Michael Dunn, and all of it that bring that together. And winning also makes it sound a bit more credible too, right? We could have lost those times, like we're not. I'm pragmatic enough to understand that we could have run second or even third or fourth, and all of it would have just been flapping your gums type of thing. But we definitely made a concerted effort to get better people. That was a known, and we got rid of some of the folks that we didn't think necessarily fit that picture. So we had to make some hard decisions, have some hard discussions. We had to play good. The ball fell in a couple of times, like those kind of things. You shouldn't understate the fact that baseball, you've seen heaps of it.
Yeah.
And Hughesy, you obviously see more than us, all of us. But it's sometimes you got to be lucky, and we had our fair amount of that. But there was a lot of belief, and Hughesy, you mentioned it earlier. When we came back from the flight, it totally sucks coming back from Perth at 7 in the morning. When you're all in the lounge, we're lucky enough to be in the lounge, and the Perth guys, they're as tight as us, right? We totally get it, but we're thinking to ourselves, hang on a minute, what's going on here? They slept in their own beds last night, we didn't, and they beat us in 13, and now we've got a delay. We're sitting on the tarmac for an hour and a half. Everything was a challenge, but do you know what? You also mentioned it, Hughesy, the generation of players that we're dealing with. I think they're almost more into it. They're almost not. They don't complain as much. They understand, and that belief came. And our guys, it copied from what the Red Sox said years ago. But they said, don't let us get to Sunday, right? So if we win on Saturday, they had this belief that we're at home. Everything was going. If you said at the start of the year, if we came to the last game of the year and we're playing at home, you'd probably think you've got an advantage, right? Because you want to play
absolutely
in front of your and what have you. And it played out great the 2 years for us. So. And some fantastic superhuman efforts that we'll remember forever with some of those performances in those games.
Absolutely, mate. Like you've been able, as an organisation, play in 6 out of 10 of the ABL Championships, right? Like that's pretty special in itself. And I know you didn't get the ultimate success early within the start of the ABL rebirth, call it. And to be able to continue, as you said, shift away from, I guess, a kind of mold that wasn't currently working, reset the organisation, go out there. Now you're the benchmark of the Australian Baseball League. Looking at your roster that you currently posted, and it's just full of talent and guys that, for me, that have an opportunity to win a Helms Award, let alone win another championship for you guys. And some of the names that, I've got down here, and one of the guys that I think, and you will know this 100%, he did a great job to be able to get him over there. But young Nicow, he's healthy. He's back out there. He's had 2 ACL surgeries. It's been a pretty tough road for him over the last few years. He got to get through the whole season this year healthy, and he comes down this year to you and get to play. And He's a fiery character. He's just so competitive and wants to win. Being able to add a young talent like that at, I think he's only 19, maybe 19 at the stage, it's pretty good to have him set in your organisation.
No, I heard you speaking about him last week, and I know that you'd had something to do with him prior to that, and we're keen to see him play. Like he came really touted, right? He's supposed to be good. He got ranked in as one of their prospects, and the swing's great. Howie always talks him up, and he's a character. There's no question about that. His family are awesome. He's got talented brothers. His dad loves to contribute and got some energy, and mum's great. And I can't wait to see him get out there and play. And I hope we give him a chance to. I think he really needs some at bats, and he wants to get out there and show it off. Right? We want to see what he can swing like. He's pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. And how, one guy I've seen in here, which I think is going to be so much fun when you guys play Sydney, you got Nighty back for another year. And did he ask for his release, or did he want to go over and play for his dad, or is he happy there in South Australia?
So there's a whole heap of background to that, but I mean, I feel like I know Brooke pretty well now. He came in and helped us out when we were in a bind, and he helped. He was part of that change of direction because he lets no stone go unturned. He addresses every issue that comes up, and he does it immediately. He won't sleep on it. Like it's 7 a.m. to get this guy in here. We're talking to him now, type of thing, and you would know that full well. I'm sure Hughesy haven't played with him or under.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we could see that was there. That conversation was to be had. So we just got on the front foot with it and said, Briley, if you want to play with your dad, then it's cool, dude. And he goes to me, man, I'm an Adelaide player. I'm not going anywhere.
Love that, yeah.
So you're right. That creates a fantastic dynamic opening weekend, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, opening weekend as well. Didn't know that. That's great.
One to watch.
Well, there's another one.
Oh my God!
And so you're able also. Blake Townsend's come down this year. Re-signed Dan McGrath. Two guys that I think would anchor that roster. The one guy that really want to talk about, and I don't know how much you're going to have of him this year, is Jack O'Loughlin. I don't know if he's going to get shut down. I just always expect the guys to get shut down for a while, and hopefully we see him in the second half. But I look at that roster, Lockie Wells, another guy at the back end of the year. It's going to be pretty special to be able to write those names on a lineup card.
Yeah, I mean, how you build your roster is dependent on some of that, right? And because the Australians have got a lot better, I think when those guys play, we're better. I think they're as good or better than any imports we can possibly get. So to have O'Loughlin, Newborn, and Wells on our roster with the other guys that from Australia that helped that with Todd, and you've just told me who they were, Townsend and McGrath and Jason White, and all the guys that do a good job. Kai Hampton's another one. I heard you say all these names last week, and I know who else is coming, and I'm super excited.
I was hoping you dropped a couple on me, and I've got the Phillies staff, mate. I know you've went out there and signed the Frontier League Pitcher of the Year as well. He didn't even lose a game this year. I think he was 12-0, like a 2-7 in 109 innings. That's a huge pickup for the organisation, and I always feel like there's a great supplement of independent ball pitchers and Australian talent. And if you look at the rosters and the way you go about constructing them, generally you've got maybe 2 and 2, like 2 Aussies, 2 imports or something thereabouts. And to be able to add a guy like that, to anchor it with the rest of the names we've just mentioned, I mean, that's a pretty good starting four.
It is. So back to your question on Jack. Jack got DFA'd late in the year, and he needs to play. He wants to play. He's going to be back in November, maybe the start of November, to get ready to play as soon as he can. So happy to have as many innings, obviously, as we can from him, because he's never done anything but good for us. And you've seen how well he's done for even Team Australia recently. So we played in the big leagues, so that's pretty good credentials. Bradwell was we landed on our feet a little bit with that. So we're watching a little bit what goes on. We watch all those leagues, and we've got a couple of guys we trust that you talk to within those leagues, and his name came up, and he played with Kirion, who played for us last year, the catcher, and he hit I don't know if you saw the highlight of him hitting the home run to win their championship. It was pretty cool.
Absolutely.
And anyway, and Bradwell was part of that. So for him to get named Pitcher of the Year just sort of helped pat ourselves on the back without recruiting a little bit. we didn't know he was that good, but 12-0 with whatever you said is pretty good. And
Mate, the Phillies relationship, you've been able to
Yeah.
foster that for a long time, and I know I always see, travel over to the States, you meet with the organisation, you catch up with past players that have been a part of your organisation, like that. What does that, I guess, connection mean to the Adelaide Giants, yourself personally? I know you scouted with the Phillies back in the day as well. Is that where that originally came from? Was that, obviously your connection scouting and then transitioned into having them part of the organization?
yeah, we identified that building that relationship and the trust is probably important. How do you do that? So you have to do it face to face. So we invested in it, and it probably elevated when we got purchased, or the license got purchased by the Adelaide Crows. So it was cool. It was cool to get involved with an AFL club and understand a little bit more about how they have their silos of work that they do and how it comes together, and then how baseball would fit into that. But um, one of the guy that was the main guy at the Adelaide Crows, Shane Smallacombe, who was their CFO at the time, had a connection with Matt Klentak, who was the GM of the Phillies. That tied in with the fact that I had done a little bit of work from Tank, had been around it. I don't know if we had any guys in that system at that stage. There's certainly been more since then, but maybe Rickson was already there. But anyway, we got a face-to-face with him at a spring training and broached the idea, and it turned into a contract. There's a guy called Brian Manetti who's just one of the best guys in baseball you could possibly meet in terms of down-to-earth, getting an understanding of it. He's an agent now, which he grapples with as well because he's gone from one side of the fence to the other. But we just built that relationship to say we want to, in our little bit that is winnable in Australia and in Adelaide, how do we get you guys to turn up to spring training with the best opportunities to succeed, I guess, would be the way that we describe it. And then we try to deliver it. And you asked that, Jeremy, that question, how do we try to deliver on that? We can say it. How do we do it? Well, we've got to start talking the same language. So we've got a TrackMan, we've got Rapsodo. We understand what they want to monitor in the off season. We understand that some of them want to lose weight or change position or try a different pitch or whatever. And so there's got to be that slight development part of it in there as well, I guess, that they have to work on, which sort of can detract from winning. But also, Hughesy, neither of us have been Pro Bowls. You have. Sometimes in minor leagues, I'm sure you don't feel like that they really care about winning. I know I've seen it happen.
I agree, mate. I agree 100%. I didn't know how to win until I got to the big leagues, and that's what it was all about, right?
That's right, and we do. And the way you played the game, you played to win. It didn't matter. As your best mate and as your opponent, you're going through him. After the game, you might have a beer, but that's how we want to play it, And so anyway, that relationship with the Phillies has continued. And with the new farm director in Preston Mattingly a couple of years ago, he's just totally bought into it. I mean, I got to spring training this year, and he gave me a big, how everyone hugs nowadays, and he's like, man, how do we get you 3 in a row? What are we going to do? Where's our guys? Let's go find them. So we're walking around. He was mucking around, of course, but in seriousness, we sat in his office and looked at all their teams, all the list of names, and he goes, "What are you going to need?" I said, "Well, like most teams, we want to be strung up the middle, so I'd probably need a centre fielder and maybe a middle infielder or two, definitely a catcher, and any good arms you got." So we identified 30 or 40 guys that we could monitor during the year, and then we could talk and converse. And then as it got to August and figured who was healthy or not, you just figure out some of them are whittled out, some are going to the full league and what have you, and some can come to Adelaide. So now we've picked, I think we're going to get 6 of them in the end. A little rotation policy on the middle infielders, but a couple of good starters and some catches and what have you. So we'll end up getting 6 of them this year, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the fact that, you go over there, you have a chance to talk with the organization, you sit back, you identify, it's just not, hey, we're sending these 6 guys. And that's what you just got to put up with it.
That's what it seems like from a fan's perspective, that the big league club's just saying, hey, man, here's a bunch of dudes, best of luck, all as well. But it sounds like you guys have really nurtured that culture and relationship and actually gone, hey, no, and you're working together. I mean, that's unreal. And look, I mean, you might know. Do you reckon most other clubs are in that same boat, or is this a rarity that you guys are doing with the Phillies?
No, I think the league's standing has increased, particularly over there. People pay attention. That's their job, right? It's baseball. They're sending people out to Australia for a reason. They're investing, they're spending money, Asian clubs as well, which is another whole topic, the whole Asian interest that's coming up. But the Philly, I think Tampa Bay and what have you, Brewers, and they're understanding the benefits in having that two-way buy-in in it. And I think the other clubs also, because of how much benefit they can get out of the league, how much it sort of encroaches upon a higher standard reasonably regularly. Even the quality of the worst players in our league has lifted, so the floor has moved up. So it's a real challenge for them to come out here and try to succeed. And the numbers show that, right? No one's hitting 380 and 400 and 15 home runs and whatever. It's a challenge, right? And the velos are up just like everywhere. You know, it's turned into what is a proper league, a proper baseball league and competition, and it's a big challenge for guys to come out here. So we hope we prepare them well enough by giving them the information, the data, the feedback on what they need to do to prepare to get out here and do okay.
But the big thing for me is that these guys go back to the States and have had, call it 150 at bats, 120, 150 at bats, whatever it is, and go straight into spring training. They might have a week off or whatever like that, maybe two, and they go into and they're ready to go straight away. And I guarantee if you look at those stats in spring training to those guys that have been out playing in the Australian Baseball League that have gone back to, they're already ahead of everybody else. They're already like, I notice a lot with Australian guys who have played in the Australian Baseball League and go back over there. Their spring trainings are great. That helped me. Like that's a big part of my, success in spring training was I was already ahead, and I think that's a fantastic thing for us. You can come down to Australia, it's safe. You know, like you don't have to worry about much stuff here. You can go out there, have a good time. We all love to have a good time as an Australian. You know, you do have the downtime throughout the week to be able to go see, you know, what Adelaide's about or Perth or Canberra or wherever it is. You get to spend some time away from the ballpark as well. You get to lift. You know, you have the ability to do that. You know, so I feel in the overall scheme of things, there's no better place to play winter baseball than in Australia. So no, it's great to see, mate. And I know that you've probably got a lot of names that you're about to announce coming in the next couple of weeks, and as a lot of clubs are, and it is the exciting part as a baseball fan to sit back and watch the social media and the announcements in the Australian Baseball League and what happens over the next couple of weeks, because it is starting to fire up. The footy season, rugby season is finished. And I'm really looking forward to seeing your roster, mate, and continue to be announced and stuff. I guess for me, you know, Pellega Group came on board a couple of years ago now for you guys, and I know, you know, they've probably sounds like elevated the next side of things, the commercial side of it. You know, how have they influenced the organisation, and I guess which direction are they looking to take the organisation?
Yeah, they're pretty motivated. Probably new to baseball, it'd be fair to say. They've started to learn a bit about it. They learned that it costs a lot of money to run even in little old Adelaide, but and they're trying to do everything they can to make sure that that's sustainable. And sustainable's got a broad meaning, right? And I'm thankful every day that they give me an opportunity, at least, to be able to go and do this. And without them, we probably would have to. It'd be, you know how hard it is. You know as good as anyone how hard it is to own these teams and to fork up what it costs to get it done and put on the right show that we need to do, and how that sustainability can come about. And we have not figured it out yet. We're still trying to work together, and I hope we keep identifying and changing what our strategy needs to be, and we identify ourselves as what the Australian Baseball League is. What's it here for? You know, and it can evolve and change. It doesn't have to be one thing and it sticks like that, but. That'd be great, and I'm forever thankful, as I said, to Ross and Paul and the rest of the brothers and the family. And it's a fantastic story of how they've come about to land where they are in owning a baseball team and a basketball team and an ice hockey, two ice hockey teams in Australia, a soccer team in Perth. They own the Perth Glory now.
Yep.
And a team in Dubai and a team in Italy and Catania, and they really like to build this little sports. I don't even say little. This sports sort of conglomerate. I wouldn't call it an empire yet, but. They're trying to do that, and they want to build us a new ballpark. They want to make sure that coming and playing Adelaide's a great experience for everyone, and that they can actually enjoy that 12 months of the year rather than just the 10 weeks that we play the ABL. Because and we've seen it. We got some money from the government, thankfully, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago now, and our ballpark got better. And then all the other teams did, and Perth is a great example. It's great, but you still want to challenge it all the time, right? You want to get better. You always want for better. And I know you talked to Rod Drew, and he's motivated and done a fantastic job for 100 years. But you want better. You want to keep making sure that it's attractive to everyone that sets foot on it for 12 months of the year, and that's how you're going to make money in this sport. Is if it's in baseball, you need baseball people on the field. So wherever they come from, I'm trying to get them, and we'll talk to Chinese. We've had a Chinese group of 12-year-olds come out just to come and train and do baseball, and convince them that we knew enough about it to get it right. And had a good time, and they want to come back. And now there's a golf group that want to come, and now there's all these other different things that we're trying to do just to say we need to get you out there and come to Adelaide, South Australia, come to Perth, come to Sydney. I'm not greedy. It's enough business there for all of us. We just keep working on it,
So is that the next direction, mate? Is that the next, I guess, challenge for you to? We always want, we want as many people playing the game. Great, right? Check. But being able to, and I've seen a lot of it last few years, getting the Korean teams out, Japanese teams, like spring training within the different states. And I know there's a lot of talk going on. There's some other, I think, teams going to pop up here maybe this year, next year in other states, which is, I guess, great for our game and to be able to host them. I'm not sure, do you still have the team involved in Adelaide that have been out there?
That was right at COVID. So we had the Lotte Giants here, and they were initially here for 4 weeks, and then to go to a tournament in Japan, Okinawa in Japan, and that got canned. So they stayed here for 7 weeks, which it overstayed their welcome. They had a gut for that. Living in a hotel, you would, but they had a fantastic time. So we've had interest from a whole heap of other Korean teams in particular. I think the Japanese teams have got it scun and they know what they're doing. But in terms of having facilities that they can do it and the climate's okay, but there's still interest. Our ballparks are not ready for it, and I say that with I hate the fact that I even have said that, because I want it to be so ready, and that's part of the campaigning with government to say. I've said it before, and I sound like a broken record because I say it all the time. I want that field to be ready to play 24/7 every day of the year, so that people, and whether that means you have AstroTurf or some way of catering for the different climates we have, we need to make sure these people want to come here. And you know how it works. So if they come here, they don't just play baseball. They spend money, they eat, and they drink, and they gamble, and they play golf, and they do all the other things that turn into what makes the economy go about it. There's flights and there's flight path discussions and all those kind of different. Adelaide is in a fortunate position where the ballpark's only 5 minutes. You've been here from the. Sounds like, Jeremy, you'll be here soon with the performances, mate. That you might be coming Adelaide.
Look, I mean, Hughesy has me down as a club ball guy, but Davo, the real reason we're here is, hit 500 last year in club ball. Got not a great arm, but an all right arm, and actually a pretty good fielder. Hughesy will disagree, but if you got any sort of spots going up at first base, mate, more than happy to jump in and just Also, good club guy. Good guy to have on the dugout.
Great culture
guy. Yeah, lots of fun. Yeah, mad hang, as the boys will say. So, but anyways, we can work it out offline. Yeah, Davo.
Did you get an at bat on the weekend for the mighty Morley Eagles at all, or did you not?
Nah, don't bring it up.
Touchy subject.
No, I didn't get named. But that's all right. Anyway, let's stop talking about me. We got Davo here. Like, come on, Hughesy, stop. You don't have to remind everyone I'm a below par player every episode. I do it at the beginning. That's fine. It is interesting. Look, I think you're right though. Like, I don't think you're alone when you say that, Davo. Like, I think you'll find, and I don't want to be throwing shade, but every ballpark's the same. I've been to. I know I used to live in New South Wales. I used to live in Lismore, so we'd travel down to Sydney for the Blacktown there. And I remember one season we went down there for a country championship, and Blacktown was, and no shade to the guys at Sydney, I get it, it's their off season, but it was below par. You know what I mean? Like there was banners hanging down out in centre field and all this sorts of shit, and you just sort of think to yourself, wow, this is the Olympic field that we all grew up sort of at, when we were kids, was dreaming of playing there. Like it was sick. But so for baseball as a whole, I think maybe Brisbane would be the only exception. Maybe I don't know. Perth, the ballpark here is in pretty good nick, but I think that should be league wide. All these guys should be looking at it, and it's an asset, mate. Let's use it 12 months of the year rather than 6 months. So you're onto something, and I don't think you're alone in dreaming of that. So
we all want for better, man, and I want to look and work with whomever to make that happen, whether it be here in Adelaide or across the country. As I said, I'm not greedy. It's about making baseball as best it can be, and if somebody else can put that on better than us, then so be it. It's just like when someone beats you, you're gonna tip your hat. I don't like it, if someone beats us, but more power to you. I mean, I've watched Hughesy play for years, man. We were together in the camp up in Queensland. I know how competitive you are, man. I was always loved it. We never saw eye to eye on everything, but that didn't. That's how you play the game, man. That's what made you good.
Mate, there's a few lines that I crossed there throughout my playing days, but mate, I feel that in a way of competitiveness around the league, this is the exciting part, to be able to go out and see all these guys that, I mean, they're chomping at the bit to play. Like, they've had their whole off season. A lot of the teams don't have winter baseball, and they get the chance to come out, play a little club baseball, which kicked off, I think, in most states last week. And the ABL is just around the corner. I know you got some exciting stuff coming up planned for the Adelaide Giants. Like, you got your membership drive, the Shark Tank announcement. What else have you guys got planned down there in Adelaide, mate?
Yeah, I mean, we're fortunate enough that the league have scheduled us to have 4 out of our 5 home series before Christmas, so we have to make some hay early.
Yeah,
and you will know this about me, mate. I didn't have any trouble reminding them that I didn't think it was the greatest schedule. But it is what it is, man, and I wasn't going to change, so let's just roll with it. So yeah, we're lucky enough. We welcome, I think I've got 4 or 5 interns. One of them's from the UK. There's one from Dominican. There's a girl that walked up to our ice hockey team and said, I can take photos, and now she's our box office ticketing manager. And then there's a guy that worked at AA for the Yankees was at University of Syracuse, and there's another guy who's going to be our game day production. So to bring all them together every year, we lose a lot when they go, but it's the nature of the game. We can't pay people full time, full year. So we bring them all in, and now I get this enthusiastic group of young people to come in again and see if we can put enough lipstick on our ballpark and make it look okay. And then the playing side's going to look after itself. We're going to have plenty of good guys. Tanks once they get here, man, it's like, Tank,
go for it, mate. Yeah.
Well, I'd say something, Davo, that like many years ago, I used to think that the Bandits were leading the charge on a lot of the media side of things, as far as Instagram and Facebook and also to YouTube, because Bandits were on a par with the guy down there that does it for you guys, but they were the first to really put out this product that is, hey, this can be good. This doesn't have to be some rinky-dink thing. But in the last few years, mate, I would almost I would argue that the Giants are leading the way, mate. Like the way that you guys, I said this to Hughesy in an earlier episode. I think I get all of my ABL news and news about guys in the bigs from the Giants. Like, it's fantastic. So congratulations to you guys. I mean, especially from a fan's perspective, like the way you guys present the product and the game, I think is just, it's second to none at this stage. So, and like you said, putting that team together has got to be a lot of fun. But mate, we appreciate it as fans. It's awesome. So
I appreciate it. And it wouldn't be fair for me to not mention Eric Manner, who does a fantastic job with that. Eric Bolnar, and it's a good story with him. So on November the 1st, 2014, we had an office there at Norwood where we used to play, and he knocked on the door. This is legit. He knocked on the door and said, "Can I talk to the Giants, please?" And I was upstairs. He came upstairs and he said, "Man, I'm just coming to town from Canada. Have you guys got any work?" And I said, "What are you doing tonight?" Anyway, we had a exhibition game that night, and he was on the mic. He's got a big booming voice for a little dude, and he's been working for us ever since. That was 10 years ago. He's now Australian. He's got an Australian girl. He bought a house here. He's got a dog, so he's hanging around for a little while, and we challenge him every day. And the little part that I play in that is that every person that comes through our door is challenged with the sign that says, "How are you going to make baseball better today?" And then as they leave, it says, "Did you make baseball better today?" And so if you don't answer that twice in 2 days, if it's 2 days in a row where you don't get that right, then we've got to reassess. You've got to come and talk to me. We've got to figure it out, because you've got to make it better every day, and you've got to earn your stripes every day. And they do. They love the challenge. They challenge me back. That's cool. I don't mind that. We throw it out. It's a two-way thing. But I'm hoping that, I said, Eric, you won the best media of the year. What do you do now? That's not it, man. You got to get better. Let's try to think a little more differently, diversely. How do we do it? How do we engage differently? So he's challenged with that all the time, and he's up to that challenge. So appreciate you saying it, but it's just an ongoing day-to-day thing that that's their job. They got to get better at it.
I can see why your guys obviously want to just run through a wall for the beach. for Adelaide because I'm already jacked. I'm sitting here like, let's go. When's club ball start? Let's go. So, and that obviously permeates down. So that's just sick, man. That's unreal. That's so good.
Appreciate you saying it, and I feel the same, man. And I'm an old dude, and as you can see with my grey beard, but I'm up for the fight too. You know, like we want to get better. We want to challenge it, and you don't win every year, man.
So you reckon you're on track? Yeah, I know it's hard to say. I know this is hard to say, right? But how you feeling? We going through?
The player in me won't even allow me to say it, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
fair enough.
You just can't say those kind of things. But if I remove myself from that, I say that we've got a bunch of guys that are going to come, and they're definitely going to be competitive. I know that, and it's hard to play at our ballpark. You guys that have been here will know that it's quirky. It takes a little bit of getting used to, and our guys, Rickson reminds me every day that he's not sure why he's playing here because he'll scorch one to centre right field and it'll get caught on the track with the guy coming in. You know, so,
Well, you just got to tell him, get his licks in Brisbane, make sure he pads those stats up there. So when he comes back to Adelaide, you know, it is tough. Mate, ballpark is tough, right? Like wind blowing in, you do have to play a different brand of baseball in Adelaide. And I always say to everybody, play to your conditions and play to your ballpark. You know, you go to Brisbane, don't try to pull one to left, just hit a pop up to right. Like, come to you guys. I'm not ever trying to hit a home run. Well, maybe I did try a few times, but trying to keep the ball low and cut that wind. And, you know, like every ballpark, you know, Perth blows out the left field. You have to change those conditions. Rickson's been great, and he's obviously, you know, been able to come up clutch. I mean, to be honest with you, he's probably one of the most clutch guys I've seen in Australian Baseball League since the inaugural season. And, you know, he just comes up in big moments, in big times. It's something about him. He does it. He's done it really well. So he's probably a guy that, you know, we haven't spoken much about Rickson. We talked about a little bit about him in a previous podcast too. But, mate, from me, good luck this season. I'm really excited to see, you know, the next, call it 3-4 months, how it all plays out. You have been the benchmark of the competition for, you know, not only the last 2 years, but for most of the Australian Baseball League seasons. It's, you know, fantastic to sit back and watch an organisation grow like yourself, mate. You know, all the stuff that you do off the field. As a baseball fan, I appreciate it, and I know Big Sexy does too. To be able to see, like, we're kept up to date, mate. I know exactly what's going on. Not everything, but, you know, exactly where the club wants to go. You know, you're always making announcements. You're letting us know what the players are doing throughout the season. I love that from you, mate. And I know we've had some tussles on the field over the years, but, mate, I really want to say thank you for the time tonight and being able to, you know, share some yarns with us and fill us in with what's going on.
No, I love the work, fellas. I was so encouraged to see you guys put this together and hear that people are actually talking about the ABL and making sense about it as well. That's part of it. And happy to help wherever, man. You know we are. And anyone on our team, they'll be available to be around it. And look forward to catching up again.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it, Davo. And look, I understand you probably wouldn't want to give this to Hughesy because, you know, you guys have had a long rivalry over the years, but it's Big Sexy here, mate. So you're going to give me a little scoop on a little signing coming up or not? Are we just gonna ride off into the sunset? Or are we saying stay tuned?
You guys will be able to figure it out. I'll try to do it a little bit cryptically, but we are getting some Asian players.
Okay.
So you can narrow that down to 3 countries, I think.
Okay.
Respectfully for all the others.
Yep.
They probably align with the country that's the best in the world.
Okay.
And they're one of the teams that are definitely recognisable from within that competition. So
there you go.
We're really excited to announce 3 players coming from there, and the staff that they send with them. So it's been a long time coming, and we've tried to work on this relationship, and really looking forward to having them here.
Unreal. So there you go. Hey. No longer a bloop. I'm a blast now. There you go. I've got the scoop.
Asking the tough questions, mate. Nah, good luck to good luck to you, Tank, and all the boys at the Adelaide Giants, mate. Be watching.
Thanks, fellas.
No worries. Thank you so much.
Going back. This ball's back.